Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Dear viewers of Imam Hussein TV 3, welcome back to another episode of Ahkam SOS, the show where we discuss various Islamic topics, practices and principles. To the viewers at home, condolences on the martyrdom of the daughter of the Prophet, Fatima az-Zahra, salam Allah alayha. I forgot to introduce myself. I am your host, Sayyid Muthanna al-Musawi, and with me is the esteemed and highly knowledgeable Sheikh Ali. Salam alaikum, Sheikhna.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah wa a'zamallahu ajurakum wa ajurana.
Thank you very much, Sheikhna. How are you doing? You okay?
Alhamdulillah, fine.
Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. That's good to hear. Sheikhna, I wanted to ask a very quick question, something that's been on my mind the past couple of days, and I think some of the people at home also question from time to time. Sheikhna, there are three narrations on when the passing of the daughter of the Prophet is. Why is that?
أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على محمد وآله الطاهرين ولعنة الله على أعدائهم أجمعين. Rather, there are, at least that I've seen, the reaches, findings one of the ulama, there are at least 8 narrations,
okay,
rather than 3 narrations.
8 narrations, okay.
But these are the most famous ones in which we have reached, and most of the mu'mineen and mu'minat, they hold these majalis in these 3 narrations.
Yeah.
You have the 40 days narrations, you have the 75 days narrations, and you have the 95 days narrations. The 2 other ones are the most famous ones, the second narration and the third narration.
Okay.
And the problem is, because of the narrators, those who, in those days there were no printing and publishing books where they can print and check the spelling and so forth. So there was an issue with 75 and 95. When you write the word 75 in Arabic, so you write خمس وسبعين and 95 خمس وتسعين. When you write 70 and 90, the way you write them is exactly the same. It's just that you have to replace the dots, the تنقيط. When you replace them, it's either 70 or 90. And that's where the ulama and the researchers and those who were historians were unsure about exact date of her martyrdom in terms of is it the 75 days narration or 95 days? Because of this 70 and 90, the dots, because you can replace them, and then the 90 written exactly like 70, it's just you have to replace the dots to make it 70 or 90, 70 or 90. So that was the issue. But anyhow, what we can say that as her martyrdom and eventually the madlumiyya and the oppression that befallen on Fatima alayhi salam, which led to her will to be to have her funeral secretly in the middle of the night, and to also be buried secretly. Even her date of shahada seems to be subhanallah, to be even unknown exactly, except in the ilm of Allah Azza wa Jal. So this shows her madlumiyya, and it is worthy that we commemorate and uphold her majalis,
of course,
even in more than one occasion and season. Why not?
Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Sheikhna, for those great words. To the viewers at home, I'd love to first remind you how the show works. So you send in your questions, I then read it off, ask the Sheikh, and the Sheikh answers your questions. To send in your questions is very easy. You've got the QR code below. You've got the WhatsApp number, have you? And you've got the phone number. The easiest being the WhatsApp number, or actually no, sorry. The easiest being the phone number, which you call in and you get to ask the Sheikh directly. If you're watching on YouTube live, however, you can send in your questions in the comment section, and inshallah we will get through to answering them. Okay, Sheikhna, from WhatsApp. Salam, I'm a girl from London. I'm aware that nail polish on fingernails invalidates wudu'. However, what about nail polish on toes? I think Ayatollah Sayyid Sistani says it's okay. Please let me know.
You see, the ulama have agreed upon the issue that any type of obstacle that is left on the places of the wudu, an ablution. So let's say you have 2 washes and 2 wipings. You wash the face and both arms. You have to make sure that when you wash your face and both arms, there's no obstacle on the parts of the ablution or the wudu to be taken place. So you have to make sure there's no paint on your hand or arm or face, no plaster, no glue, for example, somehow, no thick cream like Vaseline, thick one, that prevents the reach of the water to the skin. You have to remove all the obstacles, and then you can have, make the wudu, which is a valid wudu. But with these obstacles, including the nail polish and so forth, makeup on the face, for example, that would prevent, if there's of course mass and thickness, that would prevent the reach of the water to the skin, and that would invalidate the wudu. In other words, you cannot pray with this type of wudu. So you have to remove any obstacle on the face, on the arms, hands, and even on both feet, to make sure that you have a valid wudu. Yes, the issue is that you have to make sure, that's another shari'i issue. So it's another a plus on the issue of the wudu. As a female, you have to make sure you don't wear the makeup or any zina or beauty on your face or hands where it's going to be shown to the non-mahram, strange men, in other words, in the streets. You have to make sure you remove them, because the Quran says, وَلَا يُبْدِينَ زِينَتَهُنَّ, and do not reveal and show your beauty to the strangers. So that's also important that you keep in mind, inshallah.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Sheikhna. This person also, the person that just sent a message, says that they are a big fan. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for being a fan of the show. Okay, Sheikhna, from YouTube, for the Ummah's last campaign of Osama ibn Zayd, says the Osama victory will open the way to Islam up to Bahr al-Zulamat. Is there any hadith related to Bahr al-Zulamat?
I haven't heard such hadith before. Maybe it's from the non-Shia, I don't know. I haven't read this, let's say, in the books of the Shia. So maybe if you have a source, we can refer back to. That could be fine, inshallah.
Okay, inshallah. Okay. Moving on from YouTube, I once heard a tradition, maybe something else, that says that you get the strength of 40 men. Who does this apply to? Only the 313?
Yes, in the time of the Imams, Zaman's Ajjallah Faraj Sharif reappearance, in which will be given to those individuals the power or the strength of 40 men to be able to lead the world and spread justice and fairness after it was filled with tyranny and oppression. As we can see now, the mu'mineen are weak. The mu'mineen, they don't have the right tools to defend themselves. They're being killed, butchered, since the time of the demise of the Prophet ﷺ. They began with Ahl Bayt, butchering Ahl Bayt, killing their sons, grandsons, Sadat. Thousands were killed eventually, and all the way to today, in which the Shia of Ahl Bayt are also being killed till today. So we need that power and strength to be able to defeat the enemies of Allah Azza wa Jal. Definitely.
Thank you very much, Sheikhna. Then we also have another question from YouTube, similar to that, asking, is there a dua or something like that that gives someone physical strength?
In overall, we have ad'iyah and supplications in which would protect you from the tyrants, from wrongdoers, evil eye, and so forth. You can go back to the Mafatih al-Jinan. There's a dua called Dua al-Amn. Dua al-Amn. You'll find it just after Dua al-Tawassul, I think. Just almost a page of dua. Gives protection, strength, and everything, inshallah, that you need. Inshallah. To recite every day if you can.
Okay. Sheikhna, from YouTube, why don't we know where the grave of Fatima al-Zahra salamullahi alayha is, and why didn't one of the Imams show where the grave is and the martyrdom date?
That was her will. وَعَفَّ مَوْضَعَ قَبْرِي. She told Imam Ali alayhi salam in her will that conceal my grave from those who oppressed me. So that was her will.
Was her will. Okay.
And only the Imams knew her place of burial, and nobody else.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Sheikhna. From YouTube, I am struggling from depression. Do you have any advice?
Depression and the lack of depression, anxiety, and so forth. Number one, you have to go back to the medical experts, consult your GP, hospital, and so forth. Try to treat it through the medical staff and so forth. Number two, one should go back to the supplications, attending the majalis of Ahl Bayt, reciting the supplications weekly, attend the sessions of dua, nudbah, dua, kumail. Be in that gathering where it would give you strength and the spiritual aspect that you're now feeling that you lack that kind of spiritual aspect of your life. So work on both lines, the medical line and the spiritual line, inshallah.
Of course. Thank you, Sheikhna. Sheikhna, from YouTube, is it allowed to not pray Salat al-Dhuhr and Salat al-Asr at the same time?
No, usually you have the Salat al-Dhuhr begins by the Zawal, by the noon time, in other words.
Yeah.
Where the sun's direction starts to move towards the other side. And then you have the first few minutes is specifically for Adhan al-Dhuhr or Salat al-Dhuhr. By the time you finish Salat al-Dhuhr, after 5 minutes of the Adhan, the time of Salat al-Asr begins.
Yeah.
Now, you could stay in your sajjada, in your prayer mat, and do tasbih and zikr and everything till the actual time of Asr time, which is an hour and a half after, or 2 hours after Adhan al-Dhuhr. Then you can pray again. I mean, if you want to separate between these two salah, stay on your prayer mat, do the dhikr, and then pray it on that specific time.
Yeah.
But in anyhow, the time of Salat al-Asr begins after Salat al-Dhuhr.
Yeah.
And this is how Ahlul Bayt Salam Alayhim, they prayed and they joined the both salah together.
Okay. Thank you very much, Sheikhna. Sheikhna, from YouTube, is it allowed to fast on the day of Ashura according to Ayatollah Sayyid Sistani?
All the Shia ulama would say that fasting with intention of being joyful would be forbidden, haram.
Of course.
As the Wahhabis do, Nawasib, they do, that this is the day of joy and happiness. What we have is that some ulama would say that it's makruh and discouraged to fast on this day. But what is, we can say, recommended or better to do is not to eat in the morning or drink water in the morning, and by the Dhuhr time or Asr time, after you've done all your matam and majlis and eulogy and so forth, attended the majlis, drink water and a bit of dates, for example, after you pray Salat al-Dhuhr and Asr. So you don't eat too much on that day.
Yeah.
That's to show your sorrow and to show your sadness and grievance on the musibah of Ahl Bayt alayhim salam on the day of Ashura.
Thank you very much, Sheikhna. To the viewers at home, I'd love to give another quick reminder. Actually, I want to say two things. The first thing being, why are you so late? The show started about 14 minutes ago. I wasn't late, the Sheikh wasn't late. None of us here at the studio were late, but you were late, so don't be late next time. The second thing is to send in your questions. It's very, very simple. All you need to do is scan the QR code, a quick shortcut that takes you straight to our WhatsApp. If you're not bothered to take out your phone, you can write down the WhatsApp number, which is shown on the screen below, or you've got the phone number which you can call in and ask the Sheikh directly. If you're watching on YouTube Live, however, you can send in your questions in the comment section, and inshallah we will get through to answering them. Okay, from YouTube, how do we avoid looking lustfully into a woman, because this is a problem and it is really effective?
As the Holy Quran stated, قُلْ لِلْمُؤْمِنِينَ يَغْضُضُوا مِنْ أَبْصَارِهِمْ, tell the believing men to lower their gazes. That's it. It's just to have the will and the decision to quit this bad act, or let's say a sin, by lowering your gaze. And with practice you can get to that point in which you would not look intentionally at those who are you know, dress in a not appropriate way,
Yeah,
especially in summertime.
of course.
So yes, غضوا من أبصاركم. So lower your gaze. That's the
Lower
one.
your gaze with
Exactly.
practice, and then it becomes like a reflex of sorts.
Exactly, yes.
Okay, thank you very much, Sheikhna. Sheikhna from YouTube, Salam. Is it allowed
Salam.
to pray Salat Janazah for a small child born in a non-Muslim family as he is still on fitrah?
Well, in terms of Salat al-Janazah, of course, these are wajib acts, be it in a Muslim or non-Muslim country.
Yeah,
To do the Janazah prayer, to prepare the kafan, the shroud, to wash, to place hanut, as they say, that powder, specific powder for the mayyit, kafur, and burial and so forth. These are all wajib upon the Muslims, wajib kifai, as they say, ulama. That at least if one person does it, then it's waived from others. That's what wajib kifai is.
mm-hmm.
So there must be somebody performing these acts
Yeah,
for the deceased person. That's wajib. Wouldn't be waived until somebody comes forward and does these acts.
okay, thank you
Because
very
the
much.
janazah is just, the body of the mu'min is respected.
Of course, of course. But what about Sheikhna? Because there's another question from YouTube as well. Can I pray Salat al-Janazah for a Nasabi?
Nasibi is kafir and najis. How can you pray for the Nasibi
Okay.
who is in najis and kafir? We have something about the munafiq, hypocrite, who shows belief and hides the disbelief, or anyhow, that when you pray for this person who is a Muslim, of course he's a Muslim, but he's a munafiq, hypocrite, then you have to say, you have to, rather than saying Allahumma la na'lam minhu illa khayra, you have to curse him, that he is such and such,
Yeah.
So it's the opposite. You shouldn't pray for him. You have to curse him. So we have such thing mentioned in some statements about, the way they prayed on some of the munafiqeen.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Sheikhna. Sheikhna, another question from YouTube. Are there more rewards in reading the Quran from a book rather than reading from a phone app?
Of course, the ulama, I think even if going back to Atul Sistani, Atul Shirazi, others, would recommend for us to read from the Holy Quran, from the paper and the pages of the Holy Quran, rather than from the screen or the iPad or the mobile phone. So the recommendation is that for us to read from the Holy Quran itself.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, the printed one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, Sheikhna. Sheikhna, another question from YouTube. I've heard from different dream interpreters, and I've come to realize that there is a part of my wealth which is haram. What should I do?
Always try to come into some kind of settlement with the marājiʿ that you follow. So speak to the office of your marājiʿ that you follow, and try to in somehow come into settlement, as they say, musalaha, with the alim that you follow, that I've got haram money within my wealth, and then they can guide you towards the correct method of dealing with this wealth, inshallah.
Yeah. Inshallah. Thank you very much. And thank you very much for asking that question at home. To all the viewers at home, send in your questions. It's not that hard, it's easy to do. So as I've said many times, all you need to do is send in a question on WhatsApp, send in a question in the YouTube comment section, or you can phone in and ask the Sheikh directly. This is all about seeking knowledge, learning something new, learning something that you may have forgotten, learning something that you want to learn more about. Anything and all. So send in your questions. You won't lose. Instead, you'll gain a bit of knowledge. Let's go on to the next question from YouTube. I am struggling to balance my Islamic studies and my school studies because I have to attend my school for a very long time. What can I do?
You have to, I think, master the planning and having an action plan and timetables and so forth. You have to master that kind of. You need that kind of knowledge to be able to balance between the academic or the educational studies and the religious studies. You have to master that kind of timings and managing the time and so forth. You just have to sit down and plan, maybe consult those who are experts in this field. They tell you how to balance between, time spent in
Okay.
for your studies, educational studies, and time spent for the Islamic or the religious studies.
Okay, thank you very much, Sheikhna. From WhatsApp, what are some conditions that make the food we eat halal?
Well, number one, you have to slaughter this sheep or the chicken or the beef or the camel in the halal way, in terms of the qibla, in terms of the type of the knife been used,
Yeah.
in terms of the Muslim who should recite Bismillah, for example, before doing the zabiha. And these are the main conditions for having this halal meat or chicken to be consumed in the correct way, by having the correct zabiha before that.
Yeah, of course. Thank you very much, Sheikhna. From WhatsApp, was Sayyidah Zainab alayhi salam present during the attack on Sayyidah Fatima alayhi salam?
Yes, indeed, she was there, and she was very young, maybe in her under 5-6 years of age. And one of the Musa'ib mentions, I think, because one of the wills of Sayyidah Fatima alayhi salam, salamullah alayha, that she told Ali alayhi salam that come every night and recite Quran on my grave.
Yeah.
So the Imam used to come out in the darkness of the night when everyone's asleep, and he would recite Holy Quran, possibly Surah Yasin or other surah, on her grave. And in one of the instances that the Imam went into a very short nap, and he saw the Sayyidah Fatima alayhi salam telling him to go back home straight away, because Zainab woke up and she's crying and she wants her mom. So, salamullah alayhim. This is all the calamities that they saw from such early age, and let alone the calamity of Karbala by her, salamullah alayha.
Salamullah alayha. From WhatsApp, I am a student who is working a part-time job and I live with my family. Is it wajib for me to go and save up and go Hajj, even though if it means I have to leave my family for a while? In brackets, they put, keeping in mind that no one is completely dependent on me.
And overall, for the Hajj, you have to reach the stage of istita'ah. Man istata'a ilayhi sabila, as mentioned in the Holy Quran. So you have to reach to that stage of capability and be able to have that much of money. I don't know how much now exactly the Hajj is, and you take out the khums and so forth, and you have the money when you return back, so you don't become poor when you come back from Hajj. You have the means to spend on your, let's say, rent or food and drinks and so forth. So if you're capable, then of course Hajj becomes wajib.
Okay.
That's how it works.
What if someone was dependent on you?
Who is dependent?
As in, like, you've got your parents, maybe a child.
As I've said, you spend on them as you go on with your life.
Yeah.
But if you have that amount of money saved by the years and years and years, then you become mustati' and you have to go to Hajj.
Okay.
So it doesn't matter. You keep spending, keep being dependent on you. But when you have that amount of money, let's say £10,000 or more, then of course you become mustati' in this case.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much, Sheikhna. From YouTube, if a person collected many items from the front of houses that were part of house rubbish cleanup, but did not ask permission from the original owners to take the item, if the owners are now unknown and the person has many items, what should the person do, as they have no idea where they belong?
In overall, when you take someone else's belongings, you have to make sure that you ask permission from them. There are different issues with this regard. Sometimes the owner has, abandoned, let's say, these used items. Sometimes you see they abandon a football, for example. I don't know, other means. A Hoover, for example. They don't want it anymore. When you're sure that they don't want it, you can take them. It's very clear that they have abandoned these stuff, they don't want it. You can take them, but without knowing, without having the consent, then you can't take them.
Okay.
They could have kept it so they can move out to take them to the next property or whatever they have an intention for. So you have to make sure that they still need it or they don't need it, and how you have to find out. And of course, if this happens and out of sudden you discover that they want this stuff and they were not abandoned, of course, and they went away, they disappeared, what we have is radd al-madhalim, that you pay a sum of money to the Hakam Shar, to the marājiʿ you believe, you follow, or if they allow you to pay to those who are in need, rad al-madālim. So let's say your child or yourself broke someone else's window, or you hit a car and you left, for example, without telling them that I was the cause.
Yeah.
You pay rad madālim for such damages you made, and you couldn't fix it, for example. So that's another option. That if you can't find them, then you pay rad madālim.
Rad madālim. Okay.
Yes.
Is there any way for someone to calculate it?
Well, you pay as much as you think you need to pay, for example. You can pay, let's say, every year an amount of money, sum of money, or a few years, for example, just in case there is something happening you're not aware of, for example. Damage was made without your awareness, and you forgot about it, for example. So that's a chance, opportunity for the one to recover these damages.
Okay, thank you very much, Sheikhna, and thank you very much to all the viewers that have asked questions so far. If you still haven't asked your questions, there is still time. Send in your questions now. Right now, we're going to be going on break. This is the best time to send in your questions. But before we go on a break, Sheikhna, do you have anything you would like to say?
Inshallah. Yes, indeed. As we are commemorating Fatimiyya alayhi salam occasion, many narrations from the Shia and the non-Shia state about that the anger of Fatima is the anger of Allah. إن الله لا يرضى لرضا فاطمة ويغضب لغضب فاطمة.
Okay, yeah.
يؤذيني ما آذاها يريبني ما يريبها. So whatever harms Fatima, harms Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Whatever, whenever she gets angry, Allah gets angry. And this is very important to show the maqam wal-ismah, the stage and the status of her infallibility. That she has such a great state that if she gets angry, Allah gets angry. Yeah. For us, it's different. That we have to get angry when we think that Allah is angry. So let's say Allah is angry upon tyrants. We have to also be angry against those tyrants and send la'na upon those tyrants who are killing innocent people, bloodshedding and so forth. So for Fatima alayhi salam, it's different completely. No, if she gets angry, Allah would confirm her anger and would be angry as well. And I think this is hadith in Sahih Bukhari as well mentioned.
Yeah.
So this shows her greatness, her asma, her knowledge, all types of the bounties Allah gave her is in Fatima alayhi salam. فاطمة وأبوها وبعلها وبنوها, as mentioned in Hadith al-Kisa. So, Salamullahi alayha.
Salamullahi alayha. To the viewers at home, make sure to stay tuned after the break. This is the best time to send in your questions. As I have said, there's many ways to do it. So send in your questions now. Inshallah, we see you after the break.
I have a question regarding keeping pictures of scholars at home.
Is it permissible to plant trees by or
over
Islam
the
establish
graves?
based on peace and
Is it
non-violence?
permissible to collect donations for charity projects from
Is it permitted to consume canned food imported from non-Muslim
Is
countries?
there an issue for men looking at non-Muslim women?
To have your questions answered live, WhatsApp us on +44 7415 09 2155.
For those interested in an Islamic law book by Ayatollah Sayyid Sadiq Al-Shirazi, please WhatsApp the Ahkam SOS team at the following number to place your order today: +44 7415 09 2155. The Islamic law book, available exclusively in hard copy, contains religious questions answered by Grand Ayatollah Sayyid Sadiq Al-Shirazi. Order your hard copy today.
Assalamu alaikum, welcome back after the break to Ahkam SOS, the show where we discuss various Islamic topics, practices and principles and so on and so forth. Just a quick reminder on how to send in your questions. You've got the QR code which you can scan below. You've got the phone number which you can send in your WhatsApp. The WhatsApp number which you can send in your messages and your questions. Or you've got the phone number which you can call in and ask the Sheikh directly, which I know and many of you at home know that is the fastest way. You get to skip the queue completely and ask the Sheikh directly. If you're watching on YouTube Live, however, you can send in your questions in the comment section, and inshallah in all scenarios we will answer your questions soon. Sheikhna, from YouTube, right now, it is the martyrdom of Bibi Fatima, peace and blessings be upon the Lady of Heaven. What makes her martyrdom so special?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Well, initially, she is the first of the Ahlul Bayt who joined Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, as he told her that you're going to join me, the first of the Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam, the first of the Ashabul Kisa after the Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And she sacrificed herself for the cause of Allah Azza wa Jal, so that this religion would be continued with her pure blood and the blood of her miscarried child Muhsin salamullah alayhi, or Muhassin according to some namings. She was the Shahida of Islam. She gave everything to protect the Imam of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam, because some would say, where was Ali alayhi salam when she went behind the door?
Yeah.
She went behind the door to protect the Imamate of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam, to protect Imam Ali alayhi salam. He was her Imam salamullah alayhima. So she went to protect the Imam of Ahlul Bayt, to protect this lineage. They wouldn't mind to kill Imam Ali alayhi salam and even Hassan and Hussein alayhi salam straight away. They don't mind. They could have killed them, but she stood bravely, courageously to protect the Imamate of Ahlul Bayt salamullah alayhi.
Thank you very much, Sheikhna, for those great words. From YouTube, about the Dajjal, the Antichrist timeline, will he be using technology for his fitna?
We don't know.
We don't know.
Yes.
Okay. From YouTube, how should someone deal with children that are not obeying their parents?
In overall, the time of childhood, usually it's the kids are a bit naughty and they try to. I mean, some people would call it energy. They put that energy in that house. So we shouldn't be too much on those kids who are under 10 years old, let's say. Allow them to play, to enjoy, to wrestle, I don't know.
Yeah.
As long as they don't exceed the limits and the boundary of the akhlaq,
of course,
or causing, annoyance to others and so forth. But in anyhow, we have narrations with this regard that play with him 7 years, and then be with him 7 years, and then be a friend with him the third 7 years. So educate him on the 7th year. There's something mentioned in the hadith. Those 7 are very important.
21 years of
exactly.
raising a child.
Yeah, so be a friend with him on the third 7 years. The second 7 years, educate him. Try to be with him and teach him like ahkam, haram, halal, and so forth.
Of course.
So yeah, one should make sure that do not neglect them and do not be harsh on them at the same time.
Okay, thank you very much. Sheikhna, from WhatsApp, Salaam alaikum. I am a university student and I want to know if there is a way to do wudu without removing my scarf and socks while I am at university.
I'm sure there are female bathrooms in terms of being away from the scenes of the strange men and non-mahram, where you can take off your scarf and perform the wudu. There should be no problem at all, because that's wajib. You cannot waive it or ignore it. You have to perform the wudu in this way. So yes, you have to make sure find a way for that. I'm sure there are only female bathrooms anywhere, in airports, anywhere you go, and you can easily take off hijab and perform the wudu. Yeah,
of course. Thank you very much, Sheikhna. From YouTube, if I find money on the sidewalk, for example, a penny, am I obligated to pay it as a sadaqah? If yes, does it have to be a mu'min or just any ordinary person?
Well, it's better to pay it as sadaqah, of course. Yeah, if you can pay a sadaqah, it's not worth it, to take it. So try to pay it sadaqah. Yeah, it's better.
Of course, of course. From YouTube, I've heard that angels won't enter any house that contains paintings of the creations of Allah. Does this also apply to the paintings of the faces of the imams?
I'm not sure about this narration or ruling, but in anyhow, when it comes to the paintings of the faces of the human beings or animals, if you want to pray in that room, to get, let's say, to avoid the karaha or the discouragement, or lowering the rewards, try to cover these faces or the pictures and pray in that room. Because having these pictures, according to many ulama, it's discouraged to pray in a room there's a picture of human beings or animals with souls, beings with souls, visible in that room and while you're praying. So for the purpose of prayer, try to cover them. And that's why you see in some of the Islamic centers that belongs to some of the ulama, they have the picture of the alim. At the time of the salah, what they do, they have a curtain. They cover the face of the alim, and then they pray, and they remove it again. I've seen in many places.
Okay, thank you very much, Sheikhna. I believe we have a phone call. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
How are you doing, brother? You okay? Hello, how are you doing? You okay?
I'm good. Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. I just have a question for the Sheikh.
Go ahead, ask away.
My grandmother passed away yesterday, and she lives in the US. So I was just wondering what exactly the procedure is for someone who's abroad. Like, what kind of dua do I do, prayers for her, inshallah? Because she's, I believe they're burying her in about, as we speak, I think, or in 30 minutes or so.
البقاء في حياتك, brother. So Sheikhna, this brother is asking, so his grandmother passed away in the US, and he's asking what is the procedure that he needs to take to bury her, and such and so forth.
Initially, inna lillah wa inna alayhi raji'un, and secondly, our condolences to the brother for the deceased mother. And it's a great loss for the one to lose his mother, especially when the narration says, ummuka, 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 thumma abak. Take care of your mother, your mother, your mother, then your father.
Yes.
So it's a great loss. It's a great loss. May Allah mahshura with Muhammad al Muhammad be in that great position with them. Of course, what is important on the night of her burial, number one, to pay sadaqah. So pay sadaqah, and then pray Salatul Wahsha.
Okay. On the night of burial.
Yes, the burial, night of burial. Yes. Sadaqah initially, and then Salatul Wahsha. 2 rak'ah. On the first rak'ah you pray Al-Hamd and Ayat Al-Kursi. Hamd and Ayat Al-Kursi. And the second rak'ah, Al-Hamd and 10 times Inna Anzalnah fi Laylatul Qadr. And then when you finish, you say that, I would Allahumma salli ala Muhammad, and I send the reward of this 2 rak'ah to the soul or to the grave of my mother, Fulana bint Fulana. So that's how it works. And inshallah, she will be rest in peace with Muhammad wa Muhammad, inshallah.
Inshallah. And Sheikhna, what about the procedure of bringing his grandmother from the US all the way to Iraq, which is where I believe he would like?
They have to speak to the Iraqi embassy in that country and to see and to organize and liaise with the government officials with this regard.
Inshallah, inshallah. Condolences, بقع في حياتك, brother. Sheikhna, let's go on to the next question. From WhatsApp, what's the ruling of the various forms of alcohol that causes intoxication?
According to the basis that ulama use, كل مسكر حرام. Every intoxicant is forbidden to be consumed. So anything known to be intoxicants would be forbidden. Yeah, so it's forbidden, yeah.
Okay, thank you very much, Sheikhna. Sheikhna, from WhatsApp, Salam, I have a question. I know that Sayyidah Fatima, peace be upon her, got married at a very young age, I think 18. What does that mean for young women and men today? Should they get married at the age, or what age should we get married at in the 21st century?
You see, what we need today, nowadays, maturity and adolescence. They have to be in line. So if somebody who is adolescent but not unmature, how can you give her to someone who is mature, and they're going to be having problems with this issue? So maturity is very important.
Of course.
To be mature.
Of course.
And they have reached or passed the age of puberty and adolescence. So maturity is very important.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you can't give a small girl to
Of course, of
a
course.
young man, you know,
Yeah.
an adult. Which of course, some ulama would have an issue with this regard, that you cannot, unless she's mature.
Of course. Thank you very much, Sheikhna. I'd love to give another quick reminder of how the show works. You send in your questions, I ask the Sheikh, and the Sheikh answers. To send in your questions, which is the first part, all you need to do is send in your question on WhatsApp, which is the number shown below over here. Right here, yeah. You've got the QR code as well, and you've got the phone number which you can call in and skip the queue completely and ask the Sheikh directly. If you're watching on YouTube Live, however, you can send in your questions in the comment section, and inshallah, in all scenarios, we will answer them. Okay, from WhatsApp. Salam, hope you both are well, inshallah. My question is, I deeply admire the simplicity and the modesty of the Iranian chadar and wish to adopt it as my way of hijab. However, my father, being a logical and protective person, believes that my current hijab is sufficient. He is concerned about societal judgment and its impact on marital proposals, as we live in a culture that might not fully accept this choice. He feels it may create an imbalance between my worldly life and spiritual goals. How can I respectfully address his concerns and reassure him while staying true to my personal values?
Yeah, firstly, the Holy Quran states, وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا, to be good with your parents. So that's number one. And you have to gain their rida al-walidain. They are pleased and they are satisfied with your actions, your deeds, and so forth, as long as they're not haram and against the Sharia.
Of course.
Number two, in terms of the Shari'i hijab, yes, you can wear hijab in which is wide enough, not necessarily to be chador, but something wide doesn't show the curves of the body. That's important. That's hijab in overall that we see today they wear in the streets of Europe in overall. Not to be tight, so wide enough not to show the curves and the body shape and so forth. And number three, of course, the best hijab is hijab of Fatima Zahra alayhi salam, as we live her martyrdom these days and nights, which is very close to what the chador they wear, or the abaya in Iraq, the extra abaya on top of the woman's head, all the way down till her feet. So that's very close to the hijab of Zainab alayhi salam and Fatima alayhi salam. But as I've said, if you can't wear that due to the issues you have with your parents, then of course you can wear something wide, as we see today they wear in the West. That should be inshallah suffice.
Okay, thank you very much, Sheikhna. From WhatsApp, are we allowed to adopt children and consider them as our own children?
Ayatul Sistani is very clear with this regard, that you're not allowed, it's not permissible to consider them as your children, especially when it comes to paperworks. You cannot write their names as your children in the official paperworks, nationality, passport, and so forth. No, you cannot. You can adopt, but without considering them as your children.
As your children.
Because the problem is, when they grow up, if she is a female, she's going to be haram on you as a male, as a father, adopted father. So, and if he's a boy, again, he will be haram on the mother who adopted her.
Of course.
Shari'a issues would be, raised when they grow up, the age of adolescence and onwards.
Thank you very much, Sheikhna. From WhatsApp again, is it permissible to keep a dog as a pet in my house?
You see, some ulama mention about the reasons that you can keep a dog for security. If you have a farm, they call it a dog farm, for example, to protect the farm. Or if you have a herd of sheep and cattle, to protect the cattle and so forth. There are conditions with this regard. But just as a pet, needs to be a bit more research with this regard, inshallah.
Inshallah. Thank you very much, Sheikhna. From WhatsApp, I use a trading app, Trading 212, for stocks. This app offers interest on unused cash and shares via lending process. Is it allowed to take interest from this trading app?
You see, ulama differ with this regard in terms of of this type of transactions, of trade, like Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, and so forth, some would consider as haram transactions, some would allow it, like Ayatollah Shirazi, in some forms of e-transactions. But in overall, taking interest from a non-Islamic bank is allowed by paying the khumus of that interest. Giving is an issue, is a problem, unless you're in a situation where you have debts, you have no choice, except borrowing money from the bank to pay for the costs of your, let's say, your car in which you need, for example, or house, the first house, the mortgage house.
Yeah.
You need to pay for that so you can have a better life, rather than using the public transport or renting a house. So with exceptions, you can pay interest. And receiving, as I've said, yes, you can by paying the khumus of that interest for the non-Muslim, let's say, banks and the likes of that.
Okay, thank you very much. Sheikh, now I'd love to give another quick reminder to the viewers at home. There is about 6-7 minutes remaining of this episode, so quickly as possible, send in your questions. You don't want to miss out, and you don't want to have to wait until our episode on Wednesday. So send in your questions now, so you can get an answer right now, right this second, inshallah. Sheikh, now from WhatsApp. Assalamu alaikum. My question is, in your beliefs, that Fatima al-Zahra alayhi salam was an angel?
No, the hadith says that Fatima alayhi salam hawra'un insiyya. She's a human huri. So part, she was made from heaven, the famous hadith, she was made from heaven, and insi as well. So a human factor and heavenly factor as well.
Of course.
Yeah. And of course they are all made from Nurullah Azza wa Jal. The famous hadith of Jabir, as I mentioned, that the Prophet says to Jabir, Ya Jabir, inna awwal ma khalaq Allah nur nabiyyik ya Jabir. The first creation of Allah Azza wa Jal was the light of your Prophet, and then followed with the light of Ali Muhammad salamullah and Fatima alayhi salam amongst them. Salamullah alayhim ajma'in.
Salamullah alayhim ajma'in. Thank you very much, Sheikhna. From WhatsApp. Salam, what should I do if I have to look at my female teachers in school because of respect? Even though Ayatollah Sayyid Sadiq Shirazi says it is haram to look at females without hijab.
You see, even the Sayyid, when you look at other masail of Shari'iyya, would say that, number one, you're not allowed to look lustfully. That's number one. Number two, you can look, but not to focus and concentrate on all the descriptions and all the details of that individual. So maybe just face and both hands. So, and you shouldn't look continuously, in other words. So it should be really very limited, in other words.
Yeah.
Not to be lustful, not to look at the rest of the body, for example. Hands and face only, for example. So there are restrictions with this regard.
Okay.
And taqwa is important, that one should observe taqwa at all times, inshallah.
Of course. Thank you very much, Sheikhna. We have a question now from WhatsApp. How can I remember to stop wasting time? I heard it is a saying that there is a saying from Imam Ali alayhi salam that wasting time is a sin.
No, to waste the time in terms of to be wasted in the forbidden acts, of course, it's forbidden. You waste your time in watching, let's say, haram movies and porn and such kind of movies, for example, or pictures and photos. That would be haram and waste of time, of course.
Of course.
But in overall, wasting time is not accepted at all, or let's say it's discouraged, because you have a very short timeline in which you have to fill it with hasanat, and you need this hasana in the hereafter to be able to elevate in the positions in paradise, inshallah.
Inshallah. From YouTube, if one makes a nikah mut'a with a woman in a Christian country, is it wajib to ask her religion?
In overall, if that country has a mixture of atheists, other non-kitabi religions, of course, you have to ask. You have to make sure that the woman you're marrying, is she from Ahl al-Kitab or non-Ahl al-Kitab? That's important to make sure that you're marrying the right woman in terms of her beliefs, in terms of that she's not married to someone else. So yes, you may have to make this a bit small research with this regard.
Thank you very much, Sheikhna. From WhatsApp, what is the strongest hadith? Sorry, what is the strongest hadith book Shi'as have?
Yes, we can say Kitab al-Kafi al-Sharif, one of the most strongest hadith books that we have. Yes, Kitab al-Kafi.
Thank you very much, Sheikhna. To the viewers at home, unfortunately, we have reached the end of our episode. But before that, I'd like to give a couple of reminders. Number one being that our next episode will be on Wednesday at 7 p.m. So make sure to tune in at that time. The second thing that I would like to say is we have our Instagram accounts and TikTok. So make sure to drop us a follow. You will see a couple of clips of the more, not exciting, that's a weird word to use, the more knowledgeable questions that the Sheikh has answered for you guys at home. Inshallah, we answered all your questions. If we haven't done so, make sure to remind us on the episode on Wednesday, and inshallah, we will see you at that time. Assalamu alaikum.
In the heart of London, Imam Hussein Media Group is on the brink of an extraordinary transformation. We are securing a new home, a sanctuary named after the Queen of Karbala, Lady Zainab Salamullahi alayh, who commemorated Abi Abdullah al-Hussein and spread the message of Karbala. This new complex, spanning 515 square meters, will be the central hub for our 5 channels. A place for filming, editing, broadcasting and gathering as a community. With a cost of £1.5 million, we invite you to be part of this new chapter. Each square meter will cost £2,900, but every contribution counts. One share is £290, or even one brick is £50. Your donation will not only build this sanctuary, but also secure immense reward in this world and the hereafter. Every show produced, every message broadcasted will be a source of thawab for you and your families. By helping us secure this building, you are paving the way for millions to connect with Karbala and the message of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam through our channels. Join the ranks of the lovers of Aba Abdullah. Be part of this noble cause. Donate today and make a lasting impact on Shia media globally.
We're going! IHC! Imam Hussein Charity. We're bringing up awareness for the water campaign.
Assalamu alaikum. You can see that there is an aeroplane right behind us. Today, us three are going to be getting on this aeroplane and not coming down it in the way that you would expect. We're actually going to be jumping out of an aeroplane, all for an amazing cause with Imam Hussein Charity.
Alhamdulillah, we made it.
But it was really cool. Again, inshallah, it's going to get the message over. What's the message?
The message is we're trying to build as many wells as possible. The Al-Atash campaign does exactly what it says on the tin. Al-Atash, we're trying to cure Al-Atash for people around the world in the name of Imam Hussein.
So guys, please donate generously. Let's try to save some people's lives with this. And any amount you can give will go a long way.
الله لبيك لبيك يا
We all have a duty towards the preservation and the propagation of the message of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. Indeed, one of the best ways to work towards the reappearance of Imam al-Mahdi Ajjalallahu Ta'ala Farajul Sharif is through promoting the values of Karbala. Imam Hussein Media Group is the only Shia